Right. Normal service is resumed. Welcome back, everybody. I've just obviously given Pete, do not touch anything.
Right.
Leave button alone. We were in the middle of a very nice, interesting conversation, and because everyone ganged up on him about Bad being rubbish, and Prince being far better than Michael Jackson, he got the ump and ended the broadcast. But anyway, Scott, and it was your crowning moment to come on, and you got on, and just as you did, he threw you out. I'm terribly sorry about that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It happens.
How you doing, Scott? Thanks for joining us from, tell us where you are and what you're up to.
I'm near a city called Cameron, Missouri. Just north of Cameron, Missouri, out here in the wilderness. I'm back at the camper now, so.
I'm going to hazard a guess, Scott, and say that you've been hunting this morning.
Yeah.
Either that or you've been putting road cones out and you've been doing major road work. I'm not too sure.
No road work. But I figured I'd give it a shot. I'm back at the camper here. Getting ready to go back out here in a little bit. So I check in and say hello. And
I actually thought, Scott, that you were going to a fancy dress party as Elmer Fudd.
Did Elmer Fudd wear orange?
I wish I could have got a picture up on my phone of Elmer Fudd and shared it with everybody so they could give you marks out of 10 for your Elmer Fudd impression. But it looks pretty good to me anyway.
It does. Anyway, Scott, your team scraped a win last week. They just scraped it, mate. Carolina were looking good. Did you catch that, Scott? Obviously, we're just saying that Carolina looked good against your boys last week, and you just see there's something going on today. It's not me, I'm telling you. I reckon it was Scott came on and booted me off, and now he's kicked himself off, and now it's just left with the dream team.
The old school dream team, me and you.
Being back on episode 1.
So, Pete, talk to me about Michael Jackson's Bad album.
Well, maybe let's not talk about music and talk about football, which I don't actually know any more about. But have you sent links out to the other two guys?
Talk to us about your game against the Cowboys then, because obviously I've only watched the highlights. Was it?
It was grim.
It was nail biter, was it?
Yeah, it was grim. It was. I'm guessing if you send the link out to the other two fellas, by the way. Yeah,
I have, because they don't want to listen to us two just talking shit. But yes, I have.
So the more we talk crap, the more we might have to come back on. But yeah, it wasn't, mate. It wasn't a good game. It was an absolute nail biter. We haven't been good for pretty much all season, apart from the game we played against Cleveland, which we were pretty much lights out. It's been a bit of a struggle this year, but we're getting the wins. At the end of the game there, we're holding strong. The defense is sort of coming good when it needs to. At the minute, it seems to be that there's pretty much no running game. The offensive calling isn't great. And then all of a sudden, Big Ben's taking over the reins and just winging it, making plays in the dirt. And it seems to be working. But obviously, the defense is still good. But it hasn't been great. The run game's been really poor. We haven't been able to get the run game going. And I really don't know how we're scraping these victories, but we are. We're 8-0. Obviously, who was it? Was it Jason that just told us that Big Ben is obviously back off the COVID IR list and he's probably going to be playing, which is a bonus. I'm not really that scared about Joe. I'm looking forward to seeing Joe Burrow play. I've got to be honest, I haven't sort of watched him. I've heard good things about him, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing him play. But we've got the first most sacks in the league against the team that I believe is 29th in giving up the sack. So I'm expecting Joe Burrow to be hitting the deck quite often, and us boys just sort of doing enough like we have been doing, and expect to go 9-0. Can't really say much more than that, I've got to be honest.
Also, just got a few comments coming in on Twitter, because I know Seattle can't work out how to, join in properly and make comments. And He says, I see Grandad has given up on representing the 49ers this week. Obviously not. And it's AC/DC. I'll never, ever not represent Seattle. And if you want to come on, we got to do is send. Oh, in fact, I know I can send you an email to your email account that we can put anything in before it. So I'll send you a link if you want to come on. I know you're watching on Twitter. So if you want to come on and we could have another special guest, that'll be Benny Hill. The person who turned the lights out is there. There he is.
Accidents.
Mr. Benton doesn't do technology very, very well.
Right. Let's talk some football. Let's talk football. That's what we're here to do, right?
Right. Well, we did have all the screens set up as well, Pete, but obviously you nosed all that up just for a change. So we're going to talk the top 10 QB power rankings as of week 10. I'll go through the list 10 down to 1, and then you tell me what you think, because I think...
I'm trying to work out why Big Ben's on there.
So, yeah, 10 to 1. 10 is Herbert, 9 is Allen, 8 is Jackson, 7 is Walker, Breeze is 6, Rahitno is 5, Kyler Murray 4, Aaron Rodgers 3, Russell Wilson 2, and Mahomes number 1. Now, how many of those are you going to disagree with, Jason?
So this is quarterback rankings, right? So just one more time, run it down for me. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. I'll get this back up. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so right now, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun
Watson. Look at that picture of Aaron Rodgers. He looks like a bloody.
You know, it's tough.
Well, I'm not going to say what he looks like.
It's tough. It
involves children.
It's tough to disagree with any of these on the list. The only one that maybe I would think about switching right now is probably right now, honestly, and this is going to sound crazy, is Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson just so far this year. Just this year, as of right now. I don't know if you guys heard, Lamar Jackson was on, if I'm not mistaken, it was Rich Eisen's show. And he said that everybody's basically on the defensive side calling out formations and calling out plays for him this year. That's why things don't look as easy. And, Nick, full well what that means. Who's his offensive coordinator? It's Greg Roman. Yeah. And the same thing happened with Colin Kaepernick. 1 year of him, running roughshod all over the league, and then, you don't do any adjustments, and then it comes back to haunt you because, So what I find troubling about the whole situation is Greg Roman has experience with this sort of quarterback and that sort of success, and still, after a year, the league finds a way to catch up. So I'm not even going to blame Lamar Jackson for me flipping him and Josh Allen. I'm going to blame his offensive coordinator for not making any adjustments. But Josh Allen right now is doing more for the Bills, I think, than he is right now because, the Ravens have a great defense and even Lamar will tell you probably off the top of his head, like he's not playing like he should be, especially considering he was the MVP last year. But, there's not really too much to – and there's one more I'll switch. All right, Pete. Ben Roethlisberger's got to go down on this list. Just a little bit. Just a little, right? And it's not 11. It's not not 11. No. Come on. It's not me, like being funny or anything like that. It's just that, I don't know how to put this without like coming off like a jerk, but if there is one weakness for the Steelers, it's probably their quarterback. And what I mean by that is if Ben has a bad game, the defense, I don't know if they can save that if he has a really bad game, throwing interceptions and things like that. He doesn't have the downfield ball that he has anymore. He's changed his game to throwing underneath a lot more and having guys run in space. Has he made big throws in big moments? For sure. But I've also seen some stuff on film that's really concerning me as far as like his reads and things like that. Like I think it was a Tennessee game, like that interception he threw late in the game. It's like, man, what were you looking at right there? So Ben's having a fine year, but to have him 5th this year, that's a little bit too high for me, I think. But everything else looks good here, man. Kyler Murray's incredible, man, and he deserves to be right there at the top of this list with these guys because he has 24 touchdowns in week 10, combined rushing and passing. Like he's been incredible, man. Like I think people aren't speaking about that as much, and he gets all the hype in the world.
I'm really surprised, Jason, actually, when you started trashing Big Ben, that Pete didn't accidentally pull the plug again like he did the first time.
No, I wasn't trashing him. It's just concerns that I have, right?
Really surprised.
They're legit concerns as well. I think it's what most people are saying. He has been throwing out some deep shots. They haven't been sort of coming off. But he has been controlling the offense. And I think that is why he's there. I mean, I'm surprised to see him there, but as far as I know he's only done 4 interceptions this season. And he's just doing enough. And it's exactly what I was saying earlier on when I was just talking to Nick. He's just doing enough to sort of, and that's the Steeler way. I mean, one of my buddies was telling me the other day, the Steelers aren't going to beat them. They're not going to blow teams out. They will work out how to beat a team, and they'll just do enough to win the game. And if that's what he does, and that's what the team does this season, then so be it. We haven't got to go out there and be lights out and put up 50 burgers every week. It's not going to be the Steeler way. So I'm happy with what he's doing. I am concerned about the deep ball. I'm a little bit more concerned that you've got players like Ryan Tannehill not on this list. I mean, I know Deshaun Watson's a good QB, but I mean, the Texans are just doing nothing at the minute. I mean, I'm not quite sure why he's on the list there.
Well, can I stop you there? I don't think Deshaun Watson's not doing a lot. He's doing everything he possibly can to win games. It's the fact that the defense is just so terrible right now. I know about this because Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller are his only 2 main receivers that are getting him touchdowns.
Yeah, you say that, Carl, but
you can say that Aaron Rodgers is on that list, and he's pretty much had nothing. I know he's got some players now, but he's had nothing to throw to, and he's still up there at number 3. So
the argument,
but he's got the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. So
right now he does.
The argument is what about Watson, and I understand that. So Matt Ryan is the passing yard leader at this point, and he's not even on the list.
Exactly. Yeah. So, there's players on there that should be on there. I'm not quite sure.
But there's context that's needed in that, right? And you know what's funny is Matt Ryan just became the passing yard leader. Who did he just pass? A guy who hasn't been playing for weeks, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was leading the league in passing yards even this past week.
He was in line to do something like 6,700 yards. Or something. He was going to continue. That's crazy.
Right. And now the context is needed, right? So how did Dak put up all those yards? Was it because his team was down 45 points and he was trying to get them back in the game? And Matt Ryan, we know that the issue over there is that they have no intention of really running the ball at certain points. So, that's a passing volume team as well too. So, I mean, I think this is fine as long as we're talking in terms of just play, right? Stats tell one part of the story, but play, and when you watch, and I think that was important when Carl brought that up about who has who, and Rodgers has just been playing out of his mind, and that's why he deserves to be up there. I mean, the top 3 in any order, whatever. Like, if somebody would have came to me and said that Aaron Rodgers is 1 on this list, I might not agree, but I won't fight you on that. That's that's completely possible, and it's the same thing. If you want to put Mahomes or Wilson, those 3 guys are pretty much interchangeable right now because of the level that they're playing at this point.
The other thing that interests me, and I want your view on this, Scott. Well, we'll go round the horn quickly. Do you also think that this is like a race for the MVP? Because everyone's talking up Russell Wilson as being the MVP this year and things like that. I'm not saying Mahomes is going to win it. Don't get me wrong, but sorry, Seattle fans, but watching you lot get absolutely humiliated against the Bills, and I know the Niners got them coming up, and I'm probably going to have to put my head in the sand and disappear. But watching Russell Wilson get his ass kicked and them getting torched was fucking hilarious. That made after the Packers absolutely monstered the junior varsity 49ers, watching the Bills absolutely murder Seattle was delicious, and I absolutely loved it, and it was hilarious. But anyway, sorry, back on topic. Do you think the way Mahomes is playing at the moment, again, is going to put him in that MVP conversation and Russell Wilson being out of it again now, Scott? I mean, how do you compare just those 2 at the moment? Who do you think is better at the moment? If the season ended now, as they always say with the rankings they do, who would you put as MVP candidate?
Yeah, I think Russ has kind of lost that the last couple of weeks with the turnovers, and the turnovers haven't just been bad turnovers. They've turnovers that hurt the team, right, against the Cardinals and against the Bills. I mean, you can't have your MVP costing you 2 games. So Patrick Mahomes, he's quietly been putting some numbers up, and I think when you look right now, he's projected out for 44, 45 touchdowns and 2 or 3 interceptions, which is just insane numbers. So, yeah, I think Russ hurt himself the last couple of weeks. I don't think enough to drop down, to 5 or 6, but definitely not. He's definitely not in the pole position anymore. And then this list, I think Ben maybe is a little bit too high. I think Lamar Jackson maybe is a little too high. Maybe he should be 10. I would take Justin Herbert over Lamar Jackson at this point. I would probably.
There has been
Matt Ryan has been playing. It's hard because you see some of these teams, like even Joe Burrow at the Bengals, aren't very good, but you look at the numbers and some of the performances that those guys are putting up, and Matt Ryan, the yards and the touchdowns, and his defense is dreadful and killing them and losing games. But yeah, I think Mahomes being 1, and then Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, kind of like Jason was saying, those you could probably intermix those. Maybe you could say Aaron Rodgers, although he had a bad game against the Buccaneers that kind of hurt them. So, yeah, I don't see too much to argue with. I would definitely, like I said, I would probably try to find a place for a couple of these guys lower down, move maybe a couple up, and, maybe take like Lamar Jackson or one of these guys off. Lamar Jackson hasn't played well in a big game. I mean, the Chiefs and the Steelers, he didn't play well and they lost. And like I said, when you look at Matt Ryan and some of these other guys, I kind of like a surprise for me too this year is I've kind of expected him to fall off as Kyler Murray. He's really just gone to another level, and he's kind of kept it up, and the size, and you kind of worry about that, and he runs a lot, and I know people say he doesn't take hits, but that's coming, and he looks like a little kid when you see him out there on the field.
And his helmet's like
players. It's
5 size. He's too big.
Yeah, his size is noticeably different, smaller in stature than these other guys. But yeah, I think right now, I think if you ended the season, you'd probably give the MVP to Mahomes. But that, if you said 2 weeks ago, it would have been Russell Wilson. So it's still got half the season to go, and Mahomes is looking to have an incredible year, but Russell Wilson could turn around and have another 10 or 12 touchdowns in the next 2 games, and he might be back up in there in the top and make it an argument again.
Yeah, he doesn't play the 49ers for a few weeks, so that's not going to be. He's not going to get all that, but we'll see. Jason, what do you think about the MVP and obviously Wilson and Mahomes, and who would you put if the season finished now? Who would be yours?
I think what was said right there was really key, right? Like quietly, right? Patrick Mahomes seems to just be flying under the radar, right? Like it's not like this national love affair this year with him. I'm gonna have to say this through my teeth and it hurts, but I think it's still Russ. The reason that I give it to Russ is that what Patrick Mahomes has around him is similar to what what Russ has as far as weapons, but the defense is significantly better for the Chiefs, right? Significantly better because the Seahawks are dreadful on defense. And I think that he has to do more to keep his teams in games. That's why that Bills game, when I was watching it, no matter how much they were up, I kept looking at the time and saying, this game's not over. Like Russ is like right there to bring them right back in it. So yeah, he had a bad game this week. And yeah, if the season ended right now, you'd have a hard time probably saying that, but I still think it's Russ just because he's lifting that team up with less. Chris Carson didn't play last week. Carlos Hyde didn't play last week, so he's missing some guys over there too. So yeah, I think it's still Russ. Right now, but I wouldn't fight you if you thought it was somebody else. Aaron Rodgers has a nice little claim to it too. Aaron Rodgers is playing incredible, man. And I think again, it's almost like we get lulled to sleep by greatness, right? Like you're just watching it and you're just like, yeah, that's Aaron Rodgers. Like but that's not fair to him, like to give him his credit, man, because he's just been cooking with Davante Adams, man. Like, you know, we all know that Davante Adams is a top 1, 2, 3 receiver in this league, but man, Aaron Rodgers and him have some sort of like it's almost like they know exactly what they're doing on every throw, and it's great to see. I mean, and we got to see it, you know, up close this week. I mean, he like thrashed the 49ers this week, man. You know, like when you get no sort of pass rush and you allow Aaron Rodgers to sit back there, that's what you're gonna get. Like, and it doesn't matter who's back there covering, that's what you're gonna get. So, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be so bad, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jaguars are finding that as well this season, that their pass rush is diminished and it's not there, and that's a lot of the reason why they're getting torched, because, as you say, the backs can't cover for 8 or 9 seconds. No backs can, you know, in this league, and that's unfortunately that's what happens. Pete, what do you think about? I know, obviously, Big Ben, the game manager's on that list. But what do you think he's too high where he should be? And who's your thoughts on the MVP?
I was pretty shocked to see him on that list, in all fairness. But as I said, he has been controlling the offense. You know, or it certainly seems when the play calling is sort of him and it's not on the sideline, and he's just, I say, creating plays from the dirt, it seems to be sort of going well. But I mean, I'm still looking at Russell Wilson. If they can get the sort of running game going and get the defense improved, I think it's going to make his life a little bit easier. I mean, you look at some of the picks that he threw against the Bills last week, a lot of it, I mean, one of them was sort of coming close to the end of the half and just sort of chucked one out there. And Patrick Mahomes, I mean, one interception all season. The guy just doesn't seem to make any mistakes, but he has got a good defense around him. He's got everything around him. So they have got the complete package. But for me, I just feel that, as Jason was saying there earlier on, I just feel that Russell Wilson's got the whole team on his back with no running game, no defense, and he's still balling out and getting figures. Aaron Rodgers, you know, went for a little digression, very similar to Josh Allen. The first 3 weeks, everyone was sort of saying this guy's going to be the MVP, and we heard it early doors of Kyler Murray as well, similar sort of players. And they're now sort of had a little slump, and now they're sort of coming back into it. I don't know. I think Josh Allen might still have something to do with it. I just like the way he plays. They've got a very fit team at the minute. All their players seem to be available. And I'm impressed with the kid. I say he just had a couple of weeks where he wasn't sort of doing quite so well. But I think for me personally, I think if you had to give it now, I think I'd still be giving it to Russell Wilson. But as we said, we're only halfway through the season. There's still another 8 weeks of football still to play. So, well, I'll say that. I think the Bills, might have actually played 9 games. I think they're 7-2. So, you know, pretty much sort of midway through the season, there's still plenty to play for. But I don't expect Ben to go any higher up that list, even though we've got a relatively sort of easy schedule. I just don't think it's, you know, we've got a complete team. It's not about the quarterback. And I think that is the issue with Seattle, is it is all about the quarterback. And that is why I think he's going to be the favourite to be the MVP, because you look at the rest of that list and they're a little bit more complete. So Russell is going to have to sort of keep cooking to keep the Seattle Seahawks going. And that's my view on things, mate. That's my view.
Well, one of the hits I saw on Russell Wilson, it looked like someone had smashed his pilot light out last week. That, to me, sorry, but it was just hilarious. And I know the Bills are probably going to do that to the Niners, and I'll have to front it. But seeing what they did to that,
it doesn't matter what you think and how much you love Seattle, mate. Come the end of this week, you could be 3 games back. So just be careful.
Our season's done. It's done. I'm not
done, mate. I told you, you're the scary team that's going to sneak up in the freaking back door, and everyone's going to fear them.
Nick, it's not done, but it's not looking good. And this week is going to be a nice little indicator to figure out what's going on. But honestly, spoiler alert, I'm not picking the 49ers to go into New Orleans and win this game. Like, it's probably not going to happen. So,
Jason, I've heard rumors going around. I saw it on Twitter this morning. Apparently, one of the 49er scouts is heading over to BYU today to take a look at quarterback Zach Wilson. Correct.
So Friday night, the BYU played, and for any 49er fan, any football fan, BYU turned out another quarterback for the 49ers. I forget his name. It's Steve something. Steve Young. So yeah, so
who?
So Steve, yeah, exactly, right, yeah. It's Joe Montana's backup. He was the backup to Joe Montana. But yeah, Steve Young, BYU guy. Also, Fred Warner's brother plays over there at BYU, and Fred Warner also BYU. But yeah, so Friday night, I get a text and a tweet from my guy Matt Barr from the Fourth and Goal podcast that says Adam Peters is going over to watch BYU for Zach Wilson. So yes, the 49ers already are evaluating quarterbacks, and John Lynch said yesterday on the radio, yes, Jimmy's our guy. Yes, we believe in him, but yes, we need to do everything we can to improve the position. So basically, what he's doing is I don't want to kill Jimmy in the press, but we are looking to upgrade. Basically, that's how I look at it. But yes, good call, Carl. Yes, the 49ers are looking at Zach Wilson, and that's a bit of everybody's draft crush right now on 49ers Twitter because the kid can make all the throws. He has almost like a Mahomes-like ceiling, like when it comes to how he plays. So let's see.
Thing with that, Jason, sorry to jump in on that. Do you think a player, and I don't watch college football, so I don't really know about it, but are there going to be quarterbacks? And obviously, I've seen some video of him on Twitter and stuff, and he looks a good. Will he fall that far, bearing in mind 10, 15 maybe?
You guys spent a fortune on Jimmy G, though.
No, we did, but here's the thing: Paraj Marathe who's not our GM, but he's the guy who makes our contract. So basically, Jimmy G's been on a year-to-year contract with us, year to year. If we, that's the way he sets up all these contracts. That's why sometimes guys don't like coming to the negotiating table with the 49ers because they negotiate all these deals that give the 49ers an out every single year. So that's the thing, right? So, you give Jimmy G his guaranteed money, which is right up front. After that, it becomes a year-to-year deal. So as long as he's off the roster before a certain time, he doesn't count towards our cap, things like that. There's a lot of stuff that goes on when it comes to that stuff. So, yeah, yes, it looks like he makes a lot of money, but the 49ers have an out. And if there was a year, it's probably this year. So to answer Nick's question, Nick, he's not going to fall to 10-15. If the 49ers want to go get him, they're going to have to trade up into the 10, into like the early 10s. But the problem is that the top 5 teams, you can look at 4 that need quarterbacks. 4 of them. That's 4 already. Lawrence, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones. All those guys are guys that everybody's talking about. So it's going to be interesting to figure out where he's going to fall in the draft and where they're going to have to move up to. They're going to have to trade up. Similar to how the Chiefs did. They what is it, 17 spots that they went up from Mahomes from 27 to 10. So it's going to take something like that. Like, you're going to have to do something like that to get your guy. And I think, I think the 49ers are ready to do that this year. That's why they're getting rid of Quan to get picks. Any pick that they have, they can put together and package as a way to move up.
Yeah, I think that, as you say, they're going to have, if they want to get a QB, a lot of people are saying they want a cornerback. And that should be the number one thing that they should go and get. So it'll be interesting come draft time what happens with that. Carl, what was your thoughts on the MVP and all that sort of thing?
Well, when I had a look at this, it was CBS actually done this graph. So I would imagine Tony Romo was probably pretty drunk when he actually done these rankings. I think Mahomes sitting at number 1 is pretty much spot on. Not to blow smoke up Scott's ass, but Mahomes is just playing at an all-world level once again. 25 touchdowns, 1 interception. He has a QBR rating of 84. I know that's the most overrated stat in the world, but he's just playing outstanding right now. We can't say enough more of him. I would actually swap Wilson and Rodgers over. I think Rodgers is playing better than Wilson right now. That game against Buffalo, that was the first sort of like chinks in the armor of Wilson. When he's so far behind, can he bring them back? That was a game which he should have had to try and bring him back. He has got 2 good weapons in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, so there is no excuse. But I'd have to put Rodgers ahead of Wilson right now. Regarding a Big Ben, go on, Nick.
I was going to say, you saying that, people say that about Lamar Jackson and Baltimore, which has been a a concern legitimately since Jackson came into the league, where you would never question really. I know it was a long way back, but they were in the game for a long period of time. And that's when he was like not getting a first down, making mistakes. And then it got kind of out of hand. And I'm surprised actually that old Pete Carroll kept him in the game when the game was done. Because again, if Russell Wilson goes down, what have you? I don't even know who's it. But what have you got at backup? You're getting your asses kicked. 20 points, whatever it was, down. Ridiculous amount of points. Why would you keep Wilson in the game at that point? It seemed kind of strange. Sorry, Jason.
It's because Geno Smith is their backup, and you would never do that.
It's either worse. It's either that or Blaine Gabbert. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what's funny? Geno Smith has a job. Blaine Gabbert's backing up Tom Brady. It's like, man, at certain points, you're just like, man, I can't even put this guy in. Get out there.
Nathan Peterman batting up Derek Carr at the Raiders.
Can I say though, Nick, before you sort of can I jump in? Obviously, just talking about the quarterback rankings there, would it be an absolute slam on Big Ben and the Steelers if he wasn't where he was, being that the fact that they are 8-0?
No, not for me.
Why?
If you look at his play, not for me.
Yeah, but we all know that the QB gets all the sort of love. It doesn't matter what happens. It's always the QB, and the team's 8-0. So if he's not on there taking the team 8-0, he's played every game. He's pretty much every step apart from a couple. So he's got to be on the list.
Taken you to 8-0 by smashing up every QB and running back they come against. And Big Ben just goes out and throws little ducks underneath.
Right, you keep talking. I'm just going to check on some stats because obviously I need to back this up. I'm just going to.
He's going to go on ilovebigben.com.
No, so.
I just wanted to have a look at his stats and just have a little look at sort of how he's doing at the moment. That's all I want to do.
So look, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. Roethlisberger sits at number 5 on that list. Okay, yeah. He's got 18 touchdowns. He's only got one more than Kyler Murray.
Okay,
and Kyler Murray is playing ridiculously well right now.
But a lot of those touchdowns he takes into himself. So he has 24 total touchdowns right now at week 10. Like that's crazy.
Power rankings is not all down to just throw it on the arm. Can you actually get a touchdown from the pocket as you run at the same time? Roethlisberger cannot do that.
Right.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. None of us are get
in. But as you say, I don't know how these rankings are done, what they're based on. So it's kind of hard to see why they put someone like Big Ben at that position. And maybe Matt Ryan's not in there, and Matt Ryan has thrown it far.
Yeah, Nick, I agree with you with Matt Ryan because he's pretty much been doing what Russell Wilson's been doing, but just hasn't been getting the W. So I think but this is why I'm saying is Big Ben in there because he is taking the team 8-0, and Matt Ryan's not in there because they're on a 3-1 sort of streak at the moment. But
that was my thing with the
not getting the love, is he?
Falcons UK put that list out because that's where I nicked it from.
Yeah.
And Matt Ryan should be on there. And I said, is it to do with records or how badly the team has been playing that it's not on the quarterback? And then I got the usual abuse because Atlanta fans love to come at me and even though I've openly said on this show and tweeted, I don't know how many times I've watched Matt Ryan from Matty Ice all the way back to the Boston College days to the pros to now. So it's not as if I haven't watched him and they think that I've got this agenda against him and I haven't because I love the guy and I can't see why he's not on this list. I really can't.
Well, I wasn't in typical Bentman fashion. I didn't manage to get any stats other than the fact that he's got 2 rings and he's going to the Hall of Fame, and that's all that matters.
Ben Roethlisberger's got 18 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That's why I said he's only got 1 touchdown more than Kyler Murray.
That ain't bad, boys. He deserves to be on the list.
Yeah, he's playing. He's
but not in the top 5 though. For me, not in the top 5. Here's what everyone's forgetting: none of us have mentioned Drew Brees, the most accurate quarterback in this game. He's completed 71% of his passes. That's without a certain Michael Thomas.
Well, here's the counter argument to that, right? So his depth per target is the lowest in the league, right?
Yeah,
and he gets the ball out quickly. So
Kamara every week is pretty nice, isn't it?
Right. So like he's throwing in the flats to Kamara. He's throwing in intermediate routes to look. I'm not taking anything away from Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a legend and one of the best that's ever played. But the little bit of context matters when it comes to that. That's why that completion percentage thing. Remember who had the record for completion percentage? It was Sam Bradford. It wasn't because Sam Bradford was throwing it all over the field. It was because he was throwing everything underneath. And so Drew Brees right now at 40 doesn't have the arm strength to do those things. Listen, What he's doing right now is remarkable. Like I'm not even like no one does this at that point. But it's weird. He does have the lowest depth per attempt. And he's the quickest to get the ball out. So their thing is very quick. Not taking anything away from the completion percentage, but it's definitely because he throws underneath a lot.
Again, I also really say that Big Ben and Drew Brees are very, very similar this year.
Right.
In missing deep balls, not throwing deep, all underneath. And who's that wide receiver that's just come back for
Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas. Again, he's not a deep threat. He's a threat for Yak. And it pads Drew Brees' stats. The same as Deebo Samuel and all the other like trick plays that the Niners do pad out Jimmy G's stats.
Correct.
Because anything behind the line as a pass, doesn't it? I think. But anyway, it pads out the stats and oh no, Pete's got to go.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, boys.
Get your Big Ben in, but hey ho, Pete. I will see you on Monday, mate. ACDC 7:30, full blast.
I'll speak to you tomorrow, mate. We'll have a FaceTime tomorrow. Jason, always a pleasure to see you. Carl, thanks for coming on. Scott, you keep doing the YMCA, my friend, in that uniform. Fellas, Steelers going 9-0. Let's go, Steelers. Take care.
Go Bengals!
Yeah, let's go, Bengals.
Shall I end the broadcast again?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me.
See you later.
Jason, just a quick one. Carly said, if we don't resign Tark, do we get a compensatory pick? I believe
we do.
Is correct, a third round or something?
A third, yeah. So that third, I mean, it'll just be packaged in anybody that they trade up for. That's why they need to just get as many picks as possible. You need to be able to package, your first, your third, maybe a first from another year, a fifth, a sixth, and like just think about if you want to know about trading up. Look at what Carson Wentz trade, the trade up for that was able to, send. I had Crocker on my show yesterday, Eric Crocker, right? And he pointed out, with draft picks, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, you sent off all these draft picks. But then when you look down the line, you look at who these draft picks turn out to be, and you see that none of them are impact players. None of them are guys that are really making any, and so it's the draft pick is such a dice roll that it's like, man, if you see a guy that can change your franchise, you trade those guys to go get who's the guy that's going to change your franchise. So, like, the only player in that deal that the Browns got that, from all those picks that they got to move up to get Carson Wentz that actually turned out to be a player was Denzel Ward. That's it. Everybody else just wound up being whatever, if it is anything. So I think that's really, really important to remember when you're talking about trading up. It's like these draft picks are so hit or miss.
That's a very good point because I know – and a very good point you made is you get all these draft picks, but that doesn't guarantee success. All these first rounders, all this, that, and the other, it's a crapshoot because you don't know.
That's why you never draft a wide receiver in the first round.
Correct, right?
Because
correct.
they are more. There's more busts and busts and hits. Take a look at our pick, for example, N'Keal Harry. Look at how that's turned out.
I know, and we wanted him too.
Was really hot coming out of college.
We wanted him too, right? We like that's the thing, right? Is the evaluation was out there and everybody wanted him, and it just sometimes it just doesn't click on this level, man. Like again, like even a guy as sure as that, right? Like that you were probably like, oh, look at him. You know, like look, again, I hate to keep bringing this up, but look at how far DK Metcalf fell because people were worried about his 3-cone at the
they were worried about his route running because he can't turn on a sixpence to save his life.
But sometimes you overthink it. Look at this guy. Are you kidding me? He looks like Terrell Owens on steroids. Like, you overthought it. You know, AJ Brown fell. Like, all these guys, you're overthinking it sometimes, man. Like, and
AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel. There's another one as well. I either fell late in the second or early in the third. Andy Isabella going to Arizona. I was plugging him so much on Twitter throughout the early part of the year, saying I like this as I get him in the second or third round. Yeah, he's worth a punt, and
right. So like you just overthink it sometimes with the evaluations. DK Metcalf is a monster, like someone that if you created in a lab is like that, like that, and people because he had a bad 3-cone, we're like, oh well, this guy's not gonna make it in this league. Come on, man, you know, like come on, guys.
DK Metcalf is like that woman, Kelly LeBrock or whatever her name was in Weird Science, where they created her in a lab. And that is like, as you say, that was at the time the perfect specimen that those two lads created. I mean, it is hard. The draft is because everyone's really happy with, you know, with some of the players they pick, and then all of a sudden it all goes wrong and they don't make it. Or you only look at Aaron Rodgers, how far he fell because no one apart from the Niners, and they, you know, I know they picked Alex Smith and the rest is history, but no one else in that draft really needed or wanted a quarterback. And that's why Aaron Rodgers fell so low. It wasn't anything to do with, and you hear a lot of this where, you know, he wasn't very good in school, or he had a troubled background, or he did this, he did that, he got busted for drugs and blah blah, and a lot of people fall because of that.
It's always the level of volume, isn't it? There's always a class, but it's only due to one position. So 1 year could be a quarterback class of 5 or 6. Then it could be offensive tackle. Then it could be linebacker. Then receiver. Then tight end. You know, then defensive lineman. It's into that sort of cycle. So that's probably why. I mean, what was the number one position that got drafted in the first round when Aaron Rodgers fell down?
No, that's a great point too. And I think, you know, like we just talked about AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, all these guys, right? Terry McLaurin, right? That it was 2 years ago. Listen to those names, right? And then this year at receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, you know, like Brandon Ayuk, like it's like, my goodness, like you know, the athletes that are coming into this league are at receiver at this point, right? But, you know, like I don't envy any general manager that has to make player evaluations and stuff like that, because it's like, man, something looks like such a sure bet, and then you bring them in and you find out that he doesn't have the mind. It's, you know, it's 90% mental and 10% physical football, right? Like, and that's the thing more than anything. You have to be mentally strong. And the thing is too, is guys come in the league and they light it up in the first year, but once people make adjustments to you and you don't make adjustments back, that's when things get hairy. And we've seen quarterbacks, you know, burn bright and then just like completely flame out. So it's like, once the book's out on you, you have to play better. So yeah, the 49ers could have had Deebo and DK. Don't remind me, Kali. Do not remind me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it anymore.
And the Chiefs could have had DK too, and they took McCall Hardman. Did you imagine DK Metcalf with Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes and Travis?
Oh, fucks.
Scott, remember. So here's the thing, right? So I don't want to give you guys a pass, but remember, the reason that they did that is because it was so uncertain about what was going to happen with Tyreek Hill, right? Because that was during that time with, you know, his, you know, I don't want to bring up, you know, the field situations, right? So yeah, his son got his arm broken, and there was a lot of concern within the league that he might not, you know, be suspended, but might not be allowed back in the league. So the Chiefs basically drafted who Tyreek Hill is, like in the draft, like somebody just like that who can fly. So
they drafted a 2.0.
Right.
I got to run.
All right, Scott. Thank you, man.
Stay safe out there in those woods. Don't get done by those bunny wabbits.
I won't. I'll be okay.
Elmer Fudd, as always, it's been a pleasure. See you next week.
Take care.
Take care, Scott.
But yeah, so it's weird because the Chiefs took Mecole Hardman because they were like, oh my God, Tyreek Hill's about to get kicked out of the league. Like they were scared about that. So that's But yeah, oh my God, Hill, Kelsey, and DK. No.
When you see some of these that, he could have gone there and shit, what would have happened and this, that, and it's like, thank God he didn't. Thank God Metcalf went to the Seahawks.
No, not thank God. Now we have to face this guy 2 times a year. My favorite player is Terrell Owens, and I'm literally watching him eat for another team, like the same exact guy. Like, oh God! And then you pair him with Russell Wilson. It's like, come on.
A lot of these players will move on. And
can I just actually say this? DK Metcalf is probably not only the Seahawks' best receiver, he's also their best corner.
Yeah.
I
saw.
And I'm referring to the interception he ran.
Yeah.
He took chunks out the field. It was basically like that film of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't
Terminator.
remember what it is.
Terminator 2.
I think it was Terminator 2, and he's just running and he's just taking chunks out of the field. It's like Jesus.
Honestly, as good as that looked on the broadcast, I'm sorry, Nick. As good as that looked on the broadcast, watch the All 22. It is incredible. DK just puts his head down and takes off, and it's when you see it from the coach's angle, it's incredible. He looks like he's galloping across the field. Like I watched it like 10 times just because I continue to focus on something else every time, man. Incredible.
If he wasn't a receiver in any sport, he would be a 100-meter sprinter. He's just
my God.
Bang.
I do love when you see players hustle after because a lot of them are just like, fuck it, I can't be bothered.
Well, he made up for that for dropping the ball. Remember he didn't hustle in the Cowboys game. So like, people were on him for that. I'm sure once it happens to you once, you better never let it happen again. Yeah. So I think that
was a terrible error to do. Having the ball touched out of your hand on the half-yard line, possibly. That was a bit ridiculous. Right, this is my favourite part of the show now. We're going to do a few game picks.
Okay.
We'll gloss over the garbage ones, and then we'll talk about ones that mean something. I'm going to save the Niners till the end because I know Jason's going to have a lot to say on it, and I think
I'm not.
Will. Yes,
I have nothing left to say. I am a broken man.
Right.
Not as broken as me, Sunshine. Not as broken as me.
No, but look, here's the thing, though, right? Like you guys you understood going into this year. Yeah, we could make the playoffs, but this is kind of a transition year, right? Like this is an in-between year for the Patriots. So and then you knew that all those guys opted out too. Like that stuff, like all that stuff. I talk to people all the time, and I tell them, I'm like, why are you bashing the Patriots? Dante Hightower's not there. Patrick Chung's not there. Like that, these aren't just like, oh, whatever, this guy opted out. These are impact players on defense, And as great as Bill Belichick is, and as great as the scheme is, you still need players. Like that's the thing, So I mean, you kind of knew this year was kind of just going to be a little bit rough. So you're setting yourself up for what the Patriots are going to look post Brady going forward right now. Like next year you'll really have an idea where you're at. So
that all depends though if we keep Cam Newton or not. That just all depends.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting discussion. But I mean, if I thought you guys were gonna do anything, is you might bring him in next year on another quick deal. But you're gonna try to get your guy, I think, this year too. Whether that's in the first or the second round, I think the Patriots have to try to get their guy.
The thing is, I mean, if we do, I don't know whereabouts we could fall. I mean, I look at the schedule now. When I first look at the start, see it goes, that's winnable, that's winnable, that's winnable. Now I look further down the board. I think this is just fucking impossible. I think our only real chance of actually getting another win now is week 17 against the fucking Jets.
Jets again, right? Right, because you have the Ravens this week.
That would be the ultimate embarrassment if you got waxed by the Jets. It would be.
Hey, look, give the Jets a lot of credit, man. I had to like let people know, and for anybody that's watching this, I'll say it again. Players don't tank. They don't. You know why? Because players need jobs. Yeah. So you help your team out to get a draft pick, and they cut you because you were terrible at your position, and then you put that on film, and other teams don't want to sign you. Well, good job. You tanked. They got a good pick. You're out of a job. So that's why players don't tank. And that's why you saw the Jets, for everybody that was confused, like, what are the Jets doing? Those guys are playing for their livelihood. You think they care whether they're going to get a high draft pick? Because they're not going to be here next year for a certain, so you have to put good film out all the time. Players don't tank, basically, is what I would say.
No, I wasn't, Jason, I wasn't saying that.
Not you.
The problem with the Jets, we all know what the problem with the Jets is. It's that
Adam Gase
should have been weeks ago.
See, but here's the thing.
Yes.
Nick, but here's the thing. Why would you fire a guy that's doing exactly what you want, pushing you up the draft board?
Do you think that is what the Jets owner, well, mind you, he's been binned with Trump now, so he'll be back in the fold soon, but that's another story.
Don't discount the Jets' dysfunctionalness, if that's even a word. It's not. But I mean, Joe Douglas, who's the GM, right, was brought in by Adam Gase, not the other way. Usually a GM brings in a head coach. This head coach brought his GM over. So he's gonna be indebted to him this entire time. I'm sorry.
That's exactly the same, right?
Right. So
Lynch somehow.
So he's indebted to Adam Gase. He's never going to kill him in the press or anything like that. He's never going to say anything bad about him. But yeah, I mean, at this point, the Jets need a quarterback, right? Like whatever you think about Sam Darnold, he's going to be moved off of. So yes, he's doing a great job of, one, losing games for them. Two, he's trying to win, he thinks. So it's not even like you're tanking.
Jace, can I stop you there?
Sure.
Sam Darnold is not. Just because he plays for the crappy team in the New York Jets,
I'm not saying he's bad.
It doesn't make him a bad quarterback. He's nowhere near bad. Do you know what his record? Do you know what the Jets' record is? It's when Darnold's gone down injured, or he's gone down with kissing disease, whatever it is, a mononucleosis mono. That was embarrassing to start with. The Jets are 0-10. The Jets are 0-10 without Darnold.
Yeah, I agree. That's been my take on Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen. I am not about to evaluate Sam Darnold with Adam Gase. I'm not. That's not fair, first of all. And the roster around him is terrible. Look, is there a world where Sam Darnold's not good? Yes. Is there a world where Adam Gase was holding him back? Yes. Look at Ryan Tannehill. Look at Devontae Parker. Look at all these guys, Kenyon Drake. They get away from Adam Gase and magically they're good again. Like, that's the thing. Huh? And that's my thing with Josh Rosen. Am I about to evaluate him while he was on Arizona pre Cliff Kingsbury and then Miami right before they got this turnaround with Brian Flores? No. So I mean, look, can they both be bad? Yes, but I'm not about to. I am not about to make a judgment on Sam Darnold right now. He could be damaged because of Gase, though, but I'm not about to sit here and make an assessment on him.
Jason, a saying that Darnold to the Niners and Jimmy G back to the Pats.
Take a shot. You know what? Look, I'm so tired of the Jimmy G talk on 49ers Twitter. I can't take it anymore. Like at this point, he's our quarterback. And at this point, it doesn't look like he's going to be our quarterback next year. That's it. Take your feelings out of it. Take your opinions out of it. I'm sick of everybody arguing till they're blue in the face about it. Look, here's the facts. They're going to move away from him. That's it. End the conversation. End it. He's going to be playing somewhere else next year. But it's not fair to what were we just talking about? I'm sorry, I just got off on the Jimmy G thing and it just threw me off.
Jason.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sick of it. I'm so tired of it. So Sam Darnold, right? I don't mind it, right? It depends on what you'd have to get from him. Like, you know what? So what could the Jets realistically ask for Sam Darnold, right? A third, a second, something like that. So I mean, I think that the fan base itself really wants the 49ers for Kyle to grab his guy, develop him, as opposed to take on someone who he's not a reclamation project just yet because he's only been in the league, 2 years, but he definitely needs work, right? Like, so 3 years, my bad. I'm sorry. So yeah, he definitely needs work. So, I mean, look, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but if you were asking me what I want them to go get one of these kids in the draft, honestly. No comment on Darnold. Exactly. Look, there's a world he's bad.
Get Cousins, please.
Look, Eric Crocker was on my show last night, and he said something that was really telling. Actually, I thought it was like the quote of the show. He said, "Look, we all bash Kirk Cousins, but he's like, you don't get $90 million because you suck."
Sam Bradford.
Yeah, but that's because he had draft capital behind him. Remember, he was the number one pick, Remember, Kirk Cousins was drafted in the 4th round. For you to be a 4th rounder, a 4th round quarterback, and put up those sort of numbers, that's impressive, right? You have to look at it through that optic, I think. Kirk Cousins wasn't the number one pick.
I'll say this. You want to get a quarterback? Go get Prescott.
Yeah, I'd love to, but Dallas is going to tag him, I believe. I'd love to. I would love to.
They are going to have to tag.
They're going to tag him.
They're killing him.
After the dumbest thing they ever did was not sign him, right? What
obviously.
They did. Because now that he's broken his ankle and everything's there, he's gonna be fine. I'm not worried about him coming back from that. He is watching his money go up every single day when the Cowboys go out there with whatever quarterback they're throwing out there. Like he's just sitting there like, yep, like just add another number to it. But you could have signed him at the number that he wanted. Now that number's gone up. Because you just watched.
He's sitting at home right now, and he can just look into Jerry Jones when he sees him on team and goes, "You need me, pay me in gold right now because you need me." And it's not just Dak Prescott. He's a brilliant. He is a decent quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. But you see the way how he interacts with the locker room and his players. He is the heart and soul of that team.
Yep.
You take him out, and there's nothing, zilch, nada, nothing.
Yep.
Another quick question here from Callie. What do you guys think about Stafford?
This is turning into. I didn't want this to turn into like an all 49ers talk. We should talk games a little bit. Yeah.
It might be in general. Just about to say to Callie, could he type in the comments whether he thought whether he thought Stafford for the Niners or in general? I like Matthew Stafford. Would he work on this team? Jury's out. I don't know.
Yes. His skill set would work. Unfortunately, moving from a 29-year-old quarterback to a 33-year-old quarterback who has tons of injury history, I don't know if that makes sense. But if you can keep Matthew Stafford upright for 16 games in this offense, yeah, I'll take that all day. But can you?
I'd rather have a 38 or whatever old he is, Aaron Rodgers on this team.
So, do you want me to tell you a little something that I've heard, something that's been floating about?
I know you like doing your little nuggets because I've seen you doing these on your nights all day. So
I trust Adam Schefter and no one else. But carry on.
No, you're right. No. Absolutely right. Look, just complete rumor. Aaron Rodgers, whether it's this year or next year, he wants out. He does. And you can kind of tell with the way that he's been interacting with 49ers players, everybody's kind of just taking that and running with it. But I'm not saying that he wants to go to the 49ers. What I'm saying is that Aaron Rodgers definitely wants out of Green Bay. And that's kind of what I've heard from people that I really trust and guys who usually get it right, like down the line. I got the Jaquiski Tartt thing. And that definitely was a real thing. And we had somebody actually confirm that was actually talked about. Now when you look back at it, Jaquiski Tartt's out for the year. The 49ers could have moved them for a 3rd round pick. Seems like you probably should have done that, at this point, because now he's just going to walk for the compensatory. But yeah, there's inklings from around the league, from around people that, this is it. Aaron Rodgers wants out. And if it was Aaron Rodgers to the 49ers, I would be through the roof. I mean, honestly, right there with that defense and Aaron Rodgers and those weapons. Now Aaron Rodgers gets to look and say, oh, wow, that's George Kittle. Oh, wow, that's Deebo Samuel. Oh, look, there's Brandon Ayuk. Oh, wow, I have 3 weapons, not just one. He would be amazing.
I can sit behind the running game and have a nice beer.
Yeah, exactly.
The funny thing, though, Carl, about Jason and his little rumors.
They're not true.
That too.
He's got his sources. But the funny thing is, I was watching him on Niners all day, and he basically said, I've heard a rumor. I can't tell you who the player is. I can't tell you who's going. I can't tell you anything. And then all of a sudden, he spilled his guts. He would be under if he was taken in by the police and questioned. Everyone would get arrested who knew him.
See, I felt bad too. I felt bad too because I text my guy too, and I told him, I was like, look, I kind of let it go. But the thing is what I liked about it is that I put it out there, but Grant, basically on the same episode, he went to the guy and he was like, yeah, it's legit. He's like, it's definitely a legit source.
No, you definitely had it, but it was just like, I can't tell you a pick. I can't tell you what teams inquired.
It's Dre. It's Dre. Dre got it out of me. Dre wanted it for the show.
Well, you can't just say that and not say anything, and then you just spilled your guts.
Right. That's kind of how I felt about it too. It's like, why did I bring it up if now they're gonna ask me about it? And it's like, why not say it? You know?
Kept stum, and no one would have said anything.
Right.
But that was a classic. That was a classic episode, and you know.
That with me, Grant, and Dre. Yeah, that was great. That was one of the better ones.
Didn't have to press you too hard.
Nah.
He pin you against the wall and say, "Tell me." It was just like, "Tell me, man." And you went, "Oh, okay." Well, he's going into that, and he's. But that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Right. Let's pick some games.
Let's do it.
We're gonna go to the shittest division. Eagles.
Who's playing the Eagles and who?
The Giants. The
Giants.
It doesn't take much.
I thought you said you was going to not avoid the crap games.
No, I said we're not going to speak a lot about them. I just want to tell you who you think.
Yeah, give me the Eagles. Look, Miles Sanders is back. Alshon Jeffrey's back. Better team. Yeah, we don't have to spend a lot of time on it.
Eagles.
Eagles.
Easy. Right. And this is another quite up. In fact, I'm going to do what's his name does on NFL Network. I'm not even going to ask you. We're all going for the Packers against the Jags.
Done.
Doom.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
And I like this next one. The football team with my guy 11.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford and the Lions. I am going for my guy 11.
I got the Lions in this one. They're just, Kenny Galladay's not playing this week, but as long as Stafford's in there, I feel like they've got a shot. And look, I love Alex Smith, man. It's amazing. He's when he threw that touchdown pass, I was like as proud as he just threw it for my team. Like I was just so happy for the guy, But
I thought I had a heart attack when that happened because I was watching it live.
Right. I love them, but you know what? I've got to lean the Lions. If the Lions don't win this game, obviously, then you really have to start thinking about Matt Patricia just not being there anymore at this point. Because what exactly does he do? They don't have a good defense.
Meant to be defensive coordinator.
Right.
And you're defensive bottom 8 in the league.
That's what I mean. So that's my thing, right? That's my thing. Dan Quinn. Why are you in Atlanta if you can't get your defense going? The same thing. I don't know why Kali, I told you, I'm not saying nothing, but I told you everything. I'm not saying nothing, but I told you everything. That's pretty much it. But yeah, I mean, it's so weird about that, honestly. Yeah, keep going. I'm sorry.
Who have you got, Carl?
I'm taking Detroit. I know that Kenny Galladay's out. I know Kenny Galladay's out injured. But I think they got too many good weapons. TJ Hockenson is just improving day by day. And the running game as well. When you've got DeAndre Swift and AP in the backfield, I think that can hurt anyone. So yeah. And it's in the dome as well. So I'm taking the Lions.
Before I do my lone wolf, Alex Smith is 5-0 against Detroit. He's never lost.
Sure is.
Whoa. Say before or after he broke his leg?
Before. So I think the last time he might have faced him. He might have faced him as a Chief, but I remember the last time he faced him as a 49er was when Harbaugh and they almost got into that fight. Harbaugh and Jim Schwartz.
Oh, that was you heard of jargon known as jumping the shark. That was probably the jumping the shark moment for the 49ers.
Jim Schwartz was upset, man. He didn't like that pat on the back from Jim Harbaugh, man. Ooh.
Slappo. Excellent. Texans, Browns.
Ooh.
Give me the Texans this week. I'll tell you why. New coach, right? Everything, they've been playing a little bit better lately, honestly. They haven't been winning the games and everything as well, too, but the Browns can be beat on defense. Baker was, on the COVID list, so he wasn't around to be around his team and everything as well. The only thing that really scares me is if Nick Chubb plays in this game for sure, which I think he is, then that's, the Texans' run defense is horrible. Say again?
If he plays, they've got 1-2 punch again.
Right. I'll still, you know what? Give me the Texans. I think this is one of those games where Deshaun Watson lifts his team up, right? Like a franchise quarterback does. He's going to lift his team up this week to a win, I think.
Oh.
It's a tricky one. Really, really tricky one. Baker's just come off the COVID-19 list, but he hasn't practiced all week, so that could be a problem. If Nick Chubb does play, then Mayfield won't have to do so much. I'm taking the Texans.
There you go.
I'm taking the Texans.
Lone Wolf. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
But Houston have allowed nearly 160 yards rushing per game.
Yep.
And if Chubb's back, we know what's going to happen. But anyway,
I'm partly saying this because I think, Deshaun Watson is going to have to get themselves out of it. But I'm also saying that on part as well as I've got Will Fuller on my fantasy team and I need him to put up big points. So
let's go. Let's go, Carl. Let's go. That's why you root for your team. That's it.
Deshaun Watson is definitely a big factor in this game, right? But yeah, I mean, if Cleveland start running it down their throat, they can't stop the run. A bit like Seattle can't stop the pass. So for me, I'm still sticking with the Browns and win.
You all right?
Right. Next one. Buccaneers, Panthers. Jason.
Man, so I just watched the Bucs Saints film, right? Because I was trying to, prepare. I don't know what I'm preparing for because I'm not the offensive coordinator, but I just wanted to see what the Saints did last week. I don't know if that was so. First of all, one thing that you have to give the Saints credit for is their defensive line is incredible right now. When you get Davenport back, Cam Jordan is playing lights out again. Like the first play of the game, he walked Tristan Wirfs back, the rookie, walked him right back into Tom Brady, hit him in the chest, and it caused the incompletion. The Bucs were a step slow on everything in this game. Missing throws, whether it would be just dropping passes that should have been there. Like they just looked awful. And I wanted to say that it was all the Saints, but I have to say that the Bucs looked awful on their own. Like they just were not clicking in any way, so it's really strange that this game, right? The Panthers had McCaffrey back for one game. Fortunately, he's not playing this week again, because he hurt his shoulder on the last drive against Kansas City. But the Panthers are solid, man. For everybody who thought that the Panthers were going to, use Teddy Bridgewater to get whatever quarterback of the future, they've actually really competed very well in this league, right?
They've been very, very surprisingly good, especially game against the Kansas City Chiefs, where they were only one drive away, and then unfortunately coughed up the last drive.
Right.
But
they have a good offensive coordinator, somebody who's brand new, who's going to get a job. Don't be surprised if this offensive coordinator is going to be the head coach for the Texans next year. Very offensive minded, comes in the league right away. It's always the young hotshot guys that it takes a while for you to figure out their offense. And right now they're utilizing their weapons, greatly. Look who gets away from Adam Gase and all of a sudden is good. Robbie Anderson. Number one wide receiver for them, and they're utilizing Mike Davis, who was an undrafted guy. Like he used to play for the 49ers back in the day. Mike Davis has bounced around the league. He's very solid. DJ Moore is great, and they're using Curtis Samuel. The Panthers are really good. This is going to be a tough game for them, but I still have to believe that the Bucs win this game. I would be shocked if after what just happened on Sunday night for that to be a repeat this week. I still think the Bucs win this game.
I'm taking the Bucs as well in this game. That I believe that they will bounce back from this. You can't have two straight defeats like this. That it will cause so many problems from here on out. But I still to maintain my prediction of the Saints winning the NFC South and the Bucs getting a wild card spot. I've said that from day one.
Yeah, that definitely is true. That definitely looks like that's what happened.
And now they've been swept by the Saints.
I think
wild card it is. But the only crumb of comfort they have for the Bucs is that they probably will face the NFC East, the winner of that shithole.
Yes, so, they will. So they'll have to go. They'll have to go to a game. But yeah, they will. The NFC East will host a game.
I'm thinking the Bucs in this one. I don't want to. BA is at that team sorted.
But you know what's weird about him? It's okay. So we just talked about Ben and Breeze and everybody's like amending their game and amending the game plan. They're not doing that with Brady right now. Like everything's still down the field, shots down the field. And it's like, you have to take those shots here and there, not every time. BA's got to figure something out with him, right? Like even the throws to Antonio Brown are like 15, 20 yards down the field, and it's like, are you sure that's what you want to do? Look, and Gronk's a shell of himself at this point too, and it's like, come on, like you guys have to figure it out. For them to run the, I understand they were getting boat raced, but they ran the ball 6 times, I think, last week. 6 times.
Byron Leftwich was meant to be this master guru on offense, and he couldn't even muster up a cake, for crying out loud.
Right, I mean, and that's what the Bucs fans are upset about. Okay.
There's going to be problems with Tampa, with Brady trying to keep everyone happy. Gronk, I think, is still just happy he's playing again. Yeah. So although he's becoming a factor the more the season goes on, I think he's just happy that he's playing. The issue you'll have is with those 3 wide receivers. And it wouldn't surprise me if not Godwin, I know he's been in and out of the lineup, but Antonio Brown, I still think is going to be an issue if he isn't getting the ball. And it's good week 1, he got 38 yards and blah, blah, blah. Mike Evans is by far the biggest and still, I think, is Brady's favourite target, but he's got to spread the ball around.
Lattimore had him in his pocket last week.
So that, first of all, that by call for sure. But also, man, I don't know, Nick. I watched the film and you could see Evans like, on certain routes because he's open and he's not getting the ball. And then when you hear BA say, after a game, right? Tom Brady's your quarterback. After a game, you say, Mike Evans was open a bunch. I don't know why he didn't get the ball. What are you saying? Like, so, why? Like, you're just throwing your quarterback right under the bus, right? And look, Mike Evans is never going to say anything publicly. Mike Evans is going to go about his business. But I am concerned, man. The only time it seems like he really wants to target Mike Evans is when they're within the 5. Every touchdown he's had has been 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard. Yep, 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard.
Going back, and it was Jameis Winston at quarterback, and BA was there. When they had, he went back to Philadelphia. What's the guy's name?
Foles?
No. The receiver.
Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson.
Those two on camera, and you saw it in Hard Knocks, were always all pally, but they were both at each. I reckon off of camera, they're both. Well, I'm the star. Fuck the other guy. Get me the ball, James. Yeah. Give me the ball. And I think there is an undercurrent. And now, obviously, with
Antonio Brown coming in,
brought in, and we all know what Antonio Brown is supposed to be in the locker room, and we've seen his antics. One of those two is going to start tripping, I think.
Here's the thing. I don't know. Like with Brown, all right, so I understand the, being nervous about Brown, but I think that he's staying with Brady. Brady's a maniac. He's never going to let him leave the house, do anything stupid. I mean, can he control the man? No. Like he's not his dad. But I think that Antonio Brown has got to feel a bit of a debt to Tom Brady because Tom Brady got him back in this league. Without him, champion. Because remember, BA said what about Antonio Brown? It's so funny how things switch, right? Yeah, he's not a fit. We don't even have any money to give him. Fast forward 8 weeks later, and they immediately bring him in.
I mean, but the good thing about AB living with Tom Brady is his wife's going to be there. And to be honest, I wouldn't fuck about it if I was living with them. No, I'd be on my best behavior.
You had to go down that road, didn't you?
Right. Like you couldn't just let it skate by. You just had to
you wake up, you're like, ugh, and you open the curtains, and Giselle is just going into the swimming pool. You're not gonna. If that's your view every day, right? You're gonna make sure that you're on your best behavior. Well, that's my.
If I catch you ogling my wife from your window, get your shit and get out of my house. I don't care where you stay, and I don't care what team you play for.
Doesn't catch you. That's the thing.
Right. That's the thing. Being slick about it. If I catch you like with your arm up, looking like, no, I'm sorry.
Exactly. Well, just wear sunglasses, then you don't know where he's looking. Right. This next game is really quite interesting, and unfortunately, I am going to be watching the Niners at 9:25 over here. Chargers Dolphins. I think this has got potential.
Wow.
To be a really, really good game. Tua versus Justin Herbert. Do you think, before you make it, do you think this has the potential to be a shootout?
No, I don't. But I think this has potential to show two of the brightest young quarterbacks in the league. But I think I want this to be more of a showcase. I want to say this, and I don't want to get caught up in the moment, right, because of their record. The Miami Dolphins have changed. This isn't Adam Gase's Miami Dolphins. This isn't the Miami Dolphins of, Brian Flores right now is in position for Coach of the Year at this point. 5-3, Miami Dolphins started with a journeyman. The culture has changed. They are moving different. They are setting. This guy has done such a great job, and this regime has done such a great job of stockpiling picks, investing in the right things, cornerback, line, having those sort of things, setting the precedent for what you want to do, infecting your culture. The Miami Dolphins are here, and they're going to be here for a little while. And it's good. It's good for football. It really is. Brian Flores is a chip off of the Bill Belichick block and the defense that he's brought. Like everybody wants to give Bill, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Carl. Everyone wants to give Bill the credit for stopping the Rams. It was Brian Flores with the 6-1 that he ran against them that laid the blueprint on how to stop the Rams. And he's taken that. And that's part of the reason the 49ers couldn't do anything against them. Great defense, great defensive scheme. And they run that against almost any of the Shanahan offenses because they're all out there with all the motions and how they run the ball and everything as well. Brian Flores is doing an amazing job. The Miami Dolphins are here. Having said all of that, I think the Chargers probably win this game. But it's going to be a great game. It's going to be an amazing game.
You built up Miami, and then all of a sudden,
listen. Even if they lose this game, who cares? The Miami Dolphins have changed. They are changed, and it's there.
How many games have the Chargers lost this year where they've had over double-digit scores and they've been pissing away leads?
That's the Chargers. The quarterback changes and they stay the same. They do that every year, no matter who the quarterback is, right? But that's something that's gonna change eventually. And this year wasn't supposed to be Herbert, right? Like they went into this fully thinking it was gonna be Taylor. Finding out that Herbert is this right now is like the fine. And you know what? If they go 1 or 2-14 and 3-13. Whatever, they got their guy, and they're ready to go next year. So
future definitely is bright with Herbert at quarterback.
Hell yeah!
And you've only again talking about Miami. Was it last year or the year before? They got rid of all their stars. They had a big clear out, got all those draft picks for everyone, and it's now starting to come good. I still think they switched a bit early to Tua, if I'm honest. Because obviously they came off that big win, didn't they, against the Niners, then went into the bye and swapped him in the bye. Could they be 5-3 with Fitzpatrick? Probably. But that change has obviously worked. So, as you say, Flores is getting a lot of props for doing that. I still like the Chargers in this.
Yeah.
I do like them because I Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. If their defense can actually stop someone and not
no Bosa this week,
they would be a good team, but it's whether they can do that. But yeah, I still like the Chargers. What do you think, Carl?
Bold prediction from me. Tua's going to throw for over 300 yards and get 2 touchdowns. And he's going to rush for a touchdown as well.
Is he on your fantasy team?
Correct. I got Mahomes on a bye. That's why.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Look, I love that. I love rooting for things like that and speaking it into existence. Yeah.
That's just me going a little bit over the top. But right. No, for an actual game perspective, I'm still taking Miami. I think defensively they'll stop the Chargers. I still think this will be a fireworks display. I'm expecting well over 60 points in this match, in this game, I think. But I'm taking Miami.
Something else.
You're gonna do the lone wolf.
Oh,
well done. Yeah, it's gonna be. I hope it lives up to
the billing. Yeah,
and isn't like.
Goodness gracious, Justin Herbert's good.
Right. Another quick one. Broncos, Raiders. Unfortunately, I've got to pick the Raiders. I don't like doing it, but the Broncos are in a bit of a mess at the moment, unfortunately. And they were my sleeper team, and I don't like going against them. But I think the Raiders pull this one out, but it'll be a close game. Jason.
Yeah, give me the Raiders. The Broncos, they put up a bunch of garbage time points in a comeback against the Falcons last week, but yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, the Raiders are going to win this game. Josh Jacobs, they've got enough to get it done. I think what's flying under the radar too is that Derek Carr's playing really well this year. Like really well. I know that a lot of people give him a lot of crap, but he's actually playing well this year. Like he looks like he's like all that talk that he had in the offseason about, I hear all the skeptics and I want to shut them up. Seems like he's trying to do that right now, and I think that he's actually playing pretty well. I have to admit that.
He's playing at the same level where he was in 2017 before he went down injured.
When people thought he was going to be the MVP. Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, but he's playing really well. Like he really is, and I have to give him his credit. When I watch him play, it's more apparent.
He's got good weapons to throw to. He's got Hunter.
Look at Nelson Aguilar.
Who couldn't catch a pass to save his life for the Eagles. Now all of a sudden he's got glue on his hands.
So are you? Is that a clean sweep for the Faders?
I can't say it's the Faders because they're in the playoff spots right now. Yeah, but I'm taking the Raiders in this game.
Always a fader, right? So that's around the horn. Another comment here from Carly. Off topic, great job, guys, on the Jesse Sapolo interview. And to be honest, I must have watched that an hour that he was on with us 30 times because I still can't believe it.
Bring him on. My father bought me replicas of all the 5 49ers rings and in a case, so I could just be like, I've got 5, you've only got 3.
Well, he did in that interview agree to come back in week 12, and I have messaged him a few times, and obviously I appreciate he's busy and my time zone and his, but he did promise to come back on. I know I've spoke to Jeff, and Jeff is going to obviously try and get, because seriously, I could just do a show with him for 2 hours and let him talk about, and I know people don't tune in to see Niners content, but like his stories about the drive and John Candy and showing us 2 of his, it was.
I mean, you could ask.
It was the best show I could even imagine.
Right, and for sure, and I feel the same way too. But I mean, if you brought him on, you can just ask him questions about O-line play, about scheme and stuff like that, and he could give you, some insight there. It doesn't have to necessarily be all 49er stuff, but of course he's gonna tie whatever he tells you to it because he played for them, the most. So yeah.
Great, but it was.
Yeah, for sure.
Jason, like me.
Huge thrill. I tried. I mean, I thought it was an okay interview just because you and I were just sitting there like starstruck the entire time, right?
You know what? And I've met quite a few. I've met Angus Young from AC/DC at the back door, and Brian Johnson, and all throughout my life, I've met people, and I've been able to just talk bullshit and just meet them and have my picture taken with them. But to have Jesse come on our little show that we don't get many views, and it was just amazing, and I just that's made my year that he agreed to come on, just for the start, and it was great, and I still, as I say, I've watched it 50-60 times, and Jason, your dad freaking out, me and you just sitting there open mouthed, and even Pete, who didn't even know who he was kind of like
Right.
Anyway, back to our schedule, and this is another great game which I'm really looking forward to. Again, I'm not going to be able to watch this one because I'm going to be watching the Niners. Bills at Cardinals. This again, like the Chargers Dolphin game could either be amazing or Jason, what do you think on this game?
So one of my 37 fantasy teams actually has Kyler Murray and Josh Allen in my Superflex league. So I would love a fireworks show, honestly. No, it will be. This is going to be one of the most intriguing games for me, honestly. I think that the conception of the Bills coming into the season was, Josh Allen's going to be fine, but they have a really good defense. Yeah, the defense has been okay. It hasn't been as stout, as I think they believe. So I think that there's definitely going to be some points to be had in this game. I think if we know anything about the Cardinals, it's the same thing that they, on defense, they're going to give it up. So, I do expect this game to have a lot of points. Who to pick as a winner is going to be really hard. And I'm going to try to talk through it as I talk through, like the both teams. So, I think that they match up well. Like, I think the interesting matchup right here, obviously, clearly that I want to see is, DeAndre Hopkins against Tre'Davious White, premier wide receiver against one of the premier cover corners. Yeah, I could literally watch them two go at it, for 3 hours, and I would have a blast with this. So really interested to see how both those guys go at it. So I guess if you put a gun in my head right now, how I feel for Saturday, I think the Bills win this game, man. I think the Bills have built up something as well. The same thing that I said about Brian Flores. I think Sean McDermott is in the Coach of the Year discussion as well too, man. Like, he's done a great job, and then they bring in Stephon Diggs to only add more weapons to Josh Allen. It all just, obviously what it boils down to with Josh Allen is as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, they should be good. And I think the Bills actually win this game, but I think this is going to be a super fun game. And I think the Cardinals are going to put up their points as well too. So, and as a 49er fan, I know I get a lot of hate for this, but I love Kyler Murray. I love watching him play, man. He's so good, man. I swear. Like, I get it, right? I get it, like division rival. But, man, I can't say that I love Russell Wilson. I love watching Kyler Murray play, even though I respect Russell Wilson. I love watching him play. I think he's great, man. Although that throw to Christian Kirk, that bomb over the top against Miami, I was just like, oh, my God. Like, he's so little, but that ball comes out so hot. And so far, it's just like he's a joy to watch, man. Like, he's just fun, man. Like, he's just like a little pinball machine. It's fun.
Yeah, you like these kind of games, like we were saying about Justin Herbert and obviously Joe Burrow as well. You like seeing these quarterbacks where they can, evade pressure and just swing it out. I hadn't watched the Bills until I watched the Seahawks game, and I don't think you can kind of use that as a yardstick for how good Josh Allen has been, because he carved that defense up because they're rubbish, right? So I want to see him go against a better defense just to make my own mind up about the Bills and that team, because their defense has been a bit flaky. And I think possibly Kyler Murray can maybe expose a bit more of that. So it's very, very intriguing. I don't, obviously, with the way the Niners are at the moment, I did say the Cardinals were going to be the dark horse this year. I mean, I did have the Niners before all the injuries finishing top of the NFC West, and Arizona being the sleeper team with Seattle in third and the Rams at the bottom. Obviously, that's all changed. I like the Cardinals in this one, I have to say. I think they just do enough. Be interesting, as you say, those two quarterbacks and D-Hop. But yeah, I'm just shading the Cardinals. Carl, what do you think?
I am saying the Arizona Cardinals to win this game. That's not to say I don't like Buffalo. I think both of them have got a 50-50 chance of winning this game. Both defenses are susceptible. Both can be very, very high scoring. But I'm taking Kyler Murray over Josh Allen on this basis.
So does that mean we have a very rare lone wolf? I believe.
I can't believe it. I would have thought one of you guys would have sided with me. All right. How?
That's it. Your daughter is going to go batshit mental.
She's about to break through this door like the Hulk.
Okay, next one. Seahawks Rams.
Oh, I love this game. I love this game. I love this game.
You've just said four games. This is the fourth game now. It's like, God, this is interesting. Are they all 9 o'clock games? Because Red Zone's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
We're now at the 9:25 games.
Oh, wow.
I want to see McVay put one on Carroll. And I want to see Jared Goff. I don't give a shit what he does the rest of the season, but I want to see the same as what happened last week to the Seahawks defense.
The problem is with the Rams. They're a Jekyll and Hyde sort of team. One day they could turn up and go and absolutely light the world on fire. The next they could just stink. They just stink the club out. It's
don't piss on my.
The last game against what we saw against Chicago, I thought that was not a very good game. Okay, Chicago are a lot more better defensively than Seattle is. But still, I think what's going to come down to is this. Aaron Donald, of all of the quarterbacks that he has sacked over the years, Russell Wilson is the most sacked quarterback by Aaron Donald.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah. So if Donald gets to Wilson, I'm taking the Rams.
Nice. Yeah, this game is so interesting because, you know, Seattle's defense, like you guys said, right, you know, obviously bad, right? So Jamal Adams, right? Can we talk about Jamal Adams just a little bit?
You can, but I'll tell you first, right? Mm-hmm. I'm glad that the Niners didn't pick him up. And I'll tell you for why. All of the hype about him, oh, he's the best this, he's the best that. Yeah, he can stop the run. Fucking hell. Where was he in their passing game? Absolute joke. So,
well, you said it. I don't have to say anything now.
Very much for not playing with Jamal Adams, because I'm telling you, he would cost you your job, John Leach, if you'd have picked him up, because what we've got is better than Jamal Adams. Jason.
So no, I mean, you pretty much said what I was going to say. And I mean, Carl, you can even relate to this, right? So Jamal Adams is brought in for high price on first rounds, you know, everything as well too, right? The last game that he played, I think, before this one was against a certain team again from Massachusetts, right? The New England Patriots, right? That was the last time we saw Jamal Adams? Okay. The last time I saw Jamal Adams on the field, Julian Edelman was roasting him up top. Like, not just intermediate routes, like up top. Like, Julian Edelman is going up top on Jamal Adams. Listen to that again. One more time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So, okay, you know what? That's an off game, right? He's injured. He doesn't play. They bring him back in this game. And I don't know if it's just a coverage thing, because I sent it to Eric Crocker, and I'm like, Croc, what is he doing on this rep? And Croc says to me, I don't know. a former NFL player is watching Jamal Adams in coverage and says, I don't know. You know, like, I don't know what he's doing, you know? So he gets matched up against Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs makes him look silly. Look, Stephon Diggs is a top 5-7 route runner in this league, hands down. Like, the man has a great release. His footwork's incredible, and he knows how to get himself open. And he's fast. I love watching Stephon Diggs run routes. So there's no shame in getting beat by him. Where the shame comes in is how bad you got beat by him. And I had some people in my mentions like, well, he's a safety. Oh, silly me for thinking that someone in the secondary could actually cover somebody. My bad. You know, I didn't know, you know. So essentially what Jamal Adams was brought, right. So essentially what Jamal Adams was brought over for was to be an undersized linebacker.
Basically, because all I see Jamal Adams do is blitz. Blitz out the safety position. He's a strong safety, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's all I see him do is blitz. Every time I watch mic'd up on NFL, especially when it's a Seattle game, just see him come. He's walking, and as soon as that ball snaps, bang, that's it. He's off straight in to stop the hole where they stopped the running game. Yet in the passing game, he's just a deer in the headlights. He can't cover anybody.
It's weird that the whole of the NFL, well, I'll say the whole of the I mean, we're not the whole of the NFL, but everybody knew what Jamal Adams was and is, and he's never going to cover. Never, not in a million years is he a cover. You know, he can't, and it's interesting because I always judge these like so-called star players of how often you hear their names in games, and that Bills game you didn't really hear Jamal Adams' name called a lot. You could see him when Josh Allen was absolutely just cutting them apart, and he's like throwing his hands up and he's this. But when he comes into the box and he blitzes, he's amazing. I don't know how he does it. He reads it. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm so glad we didn't pick him up because he's overpriced, and I don't see how. And even the commentators on the game were, you know, singing his praises at the beginning. And then the more and more you didn't see him, the less and less they said about him. And it was like, I can't see what the thing of him is. But
do you know who Seattle should have picked up, because he got put on waivers and then he got picked up at Cincinnati, and that's Takk McKinley, defensive end, that came out of Atlanta.
Yes, yeah. I mean, but also the head-to-head, the Rams have won 4 of the last 5 games against Seattle, and if Goff gets his head in the game and is actually protected by that line, bearing in mind Whitworth's about 76, and I could probably block better than him, and I'm old completely. I don't know. I don't like either of these teams, as you know, because they're both in the same division. But division games, as you know, with the Pats and they're different games. I mean, we should have waxed, even with all our injuries, we should have waxed the Seahawks with that passing defense. We should have done. And all the players they had out, I know we've got players out as well.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. What you think, though. I mean, if you cheered on if Seattle had won, they say in the 2nd seed. If the Rams was able to beat Seattle will not only drop. Seattle will drop at worst to the 7th seed. Arizona will then, and if Arizona beat who have Arizona got again? Sorry,
Arizona.
Yeah,
they're on a bot. Sorry. No, they're not on a bye. What am I talking about? The Bills.
They play the Bills. If they beat Buffalo, Arizona go up to the 2nd seed.
Yeah.
So that NFC West is going to be the biggest game of leapfrog you've ever seen.
Well, to be honest, it was last year, wasn't it? Right the way up to week 17 when the Niners and the Seahawks played to see who got the first, the number 1 seed. The Niners were number 5 or something ridiculous
at the time. Yeah,
at the time before the game, and then they beat them, and then they jumped obviously to number 1. I do love the NFC West, and it's interesting when 2 teams in that division play because they do raise their games. I mean, the Seahawks, when they played the Niners, blitzed more than they've done in God knows how many years. But yeah, I want the Rams.
You want the Rams?
I want another show from Russell like last week, because he can cook all day. It like that if he plays like he did last week.
Jason's gone offline.
He'll be back. He's probably after his lone wolf. His daughter's probably, as he said, she's probably just come through the partition wall and tried to kill someone. So who did you pick in this?
I'm going with LA. I'm going with the Rams. If Donald can get to Wilson, I think the Rams will take it, but it will be a very close game. Very close.
And if Jason does hop back on, I'll just get him to reaffirm his. Bengals, Steelers. I don't really want to say too much on this, except the Bengals. The Bengals. Just do me a favour and shut Pete up. I don't care if you win by a safety. I don't care. I have a bet, actually, a charity bet for 10 quid with the UK Steelers podcast.
Okay.
He thinks that the Steelers are going to put 40 points up on the Bengals. I don't think that's going to happen.
That Bengals defense has improved, and I'm not in the passing, but the running game had the rushing defense has actually improved a little bit over the last month or so. I don't think the Steelers will drop 40 on them, not by any stretch. My betting head will tell me to go with the Steelers, to always go to Steelers. But with Big Ben being obviously now active to play, but he hasn't practiced all week. Same situation with Baker Mayfield, hasn't practiced all week. The only difference is that the Browns have got probably one of the best running games in the game, and the Steelers ones are just, well, they're a little bit stop and start at the minute.
Definitely. I mean, as I said, I'm going to start a Twitter account, if it hasn't already been started, at Big Ben's Dodgy Knee. Just put some tweets out just to annoy the Steelers fans, and it'll be hilarious. So, what you saying, Carl? Bungles or the Steelers?
Bungles.
Wow.
Good man. I think.
I just think Joe. If there's a game that Joe Burrow needs to break out, it's this one. Wow. It's a big one as well.
Yeah, the only problem that I have, like, I love Joe Burrow. I think the kid's incredible, man, but this Pittsburgh defense is so good, man. So if it's going to happen this week, then yeah, it'll really say something for him, but it's hard for me to see it. So I got the Steelers this week, man.
You got to bear in mind, though, the Steelers only won by 4 against the Ravens, and that was all down to a pick six that got them over the top in the end.
Yeah.
And they played Dallas, who played down to their competition yet again.
Yeah, they definitely did.
And they scraped through by about 5 points. They'd had one last final drive. Mm-hmm. So this Steelers team is there to be had. It's there to be had.
Yeah, you'd say that the Ravens are pretty good, though, right? Like, like they're a good team. Like Dallas, one's a little bit more head scratching.
Defensive, no, I think the Ravens defensively are a stout team. They are amazing on defense. Mm-hmm. Offense, however, I think it looks like defensive has started to work out Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
They've started to work him out now. Stack the box, keep him in the pocket, because he's better with his legs than he is with his arm now. And it's now come apparent. His ceiling for passing is now about 200 yards. He throws any more than that, he starts throwing interceptions because he's trying to chase the game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with any of that, as well, too. And also, bear in mind, those Ravens-Steelers games, they're always knockdown, drag-out, division games.
Oh, of course they
are. Honestly, no matter who's there, like, even if, Mason Rudolph would have been there, somehow that game would have been close, just because they always play those sort of games together. So, I mean, but you're not wrong. It's just, I've got a tough time seeing the Bengals doing this against the Steelers this week. I think that the Steelers, this is a little bit of a get-right week, and like you said, I think they did play down to their competition with Dallas, but I think that this time, they're going to make sure that they do what they have to do, especially with a divisional game. I don't think it's going to be like a super blowout, though. Like, that's the thing that I want people to.
No, I think this will be a close game. I think this will be a close game. But
like, I think this is going to be really a lot closer than people would think, right? Like, on the outside looking in, 8-0 team, Bengals, you probably think, they walk away with this one, but I don't think that that's the case here. But I got the Steelers.
But no practice. Big Ben's had no practice this week.
That's definitely big. Go with the Steelers because they are 9-0 in the last 9 games. But I can't pick the Steelers. I can't. Sorry.
So you guys again a lone wolf? Oh my God! When has an 8-0 team ever had 2 people pick against them? Good gosh.
We just want to see your daughter burst through the wall.
Yeah, that's why I had to leave. Actually, I think she heard me. I heard her in the other room. I had to go make sure she was good. But how?
I can't. What did you say? Sorry, as well for the Seahawks game.
Oh no! Tell me what you guys said first.
No. You're off screen. Tough.
All right.
That's tough shit.
Yeah. Having said all those things, the game's where this is going to decide. Where's the game at?
It's in LA.
In LA.
Seattle wins this game.
Sorry. Won again, Jason.
Please, no more.
All the dogs in now, Jason.
Goodness gracious.
Right, we've only got a couple more to go. In fact, last two games before we get up out of here.
Pick me last. I'm picking your guys' stuff now.
Three. Ravens versus the disorganized New England Patriots. Carl, this is your team. Lead us off.
Fucking hell. We got no fucking chance, have we? I expect us to get beaten into the fucking pit.
Oh, what? So you mean the Pats are going to win then?
My heart will always say the Patriots to win, but I've got to be realistic here. We're just not. If the Jets could put 27 points on us with fucking Joe Flacco, what the fuck can Lamar Jackson that running game do to us?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Ravens here.
Ravens win it. Sorry, Pat.
Yeah, Ravens.
Ravens win.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Callie. Yeah, I got the Ravens too, man. I mean, it's just, it's just that the Patriots offense is just so limited at times. Jacoby Myers has been a nice little find though. I will say that, man. Like, if there's a silver lining, like he's actually really coming to his own. Jacoby Myers looks like what you wanted N'Keal Harry to be. Like he's playing pretty well, honestly, and him and Cam are developing a little bit of a relationship, so that's good, man. Like there's things. Look, again, with the Patriots, we all knew what this season was going to be. We all knew. So I mean, it's not, it's nothing to be upset about. You guys are just transitioning, right?
Yeah, it's just a transition period. Jacoby Myers, you give up, you get N'Keal Harry on a first round pick, and yet you get this kid undrafted rookie free agent and out of North Carolina, who's got the name that's the same title as a law firm in the US.
Right. Jacoby and Myers, nice job. I like that, Carl. I like that.
But if Cam Newton gets his reps in, I mean, he threw decently last week. He threw 27 to 35, 274 yards. He rushed for 2 TDs. Okay, they were at the 1 yard line, but still. So he is now starting to get reps. And the last time he had those sorts of stats was week 1 against Miami.
Yep.
So it's not out of the question.
He put 300 on Seattle.
Yeah. He put 300 on Seattle. I just think if the Patriots can stop the Ravens' offense, then it's down to us to actually get it going on offense, because that's going to be one of the key battles. If we don't stop Lamar and co, we're fucked. Plain and simple. You stop them, the passing game has got to be on point. The running game has got to be on point. I banged on the drum for like the last 2 years when we took on Damian Harris, the running back out of Alabama, on the third pick. Everyone was turning and saying, why have we picked up another running back? Because we've got enough as it already is. And there was a very good reason why. Sony Michel is injury prone, but Harris is a more tougher, harder, physical runner. He was what Sony Michel should have been. And I said, why has Damian Harris got in? And he got redshirted. I said, I'll put a bet on right now. Damian Harris will be our number 1 back, not Sony Michel.
Right.
And I got tortured for it as well.
Yeah. You know what's funny is, there were people, hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? Like we get to look back on it, but there were people that really believed that Sony Michel was better than Nick Chubb. They both played at Georgia. And now you look at that and you look at that and that's not even
we got the wrong guy.
true.
We got the wrong guy.
Right. So it's crazy when you look back at things and how things play out, because Nick Chubb is one of the, as far as running the ball, Nick Chubb is one of the top 5 best with the ball in his hands, like, running the ball. Like, he's that good. And yeah, I agree on Damian Harris, man. Like, when I got into all of my dynasty startups, Damian Harris was falling, and I scooped him up everywhere, and I've been waiting for this moment. And I was that's why you plan ahead. You always take those guys, because when you watch Sony Michel, not only is he injury prone, he's not really impressive with the ball in his hands. He doesn't really hit holes. He's not fast. He's like there's not really much that he offers.
It doesn't catch passes out of the backfield, which Damian Harris actually does.
Right, and I don't even think that Patriots fans could say that Sony Michel is even better than Rex Burkhead. I don't even think that that's true.
That's a good argument.
I think Rex Burkhead's better.
I love Rex. Rex.
Of course you do, because he actually catches passes out of the backfield. You're not predictable when Rex is on the field, right? Like when Sony's on the field, you're running the ball. Like, you're not throwing it to him or anything like that. Like, you use him that way. But when Rex is on the field, you can do whatever you want with him. And Belichick loves those type of guys that he can move around like that. So Rex is a much better football player to me than Sony Michel, and I think we could say that pretty clearly at this point.
He loves versatility.
Sure.
So
does this mean that it is going to be a clean sweep?
Thank God.
Going against his team.
Thank God. Yeah, Ravens.
I'm going against my team, because even I'll be staying up watching it. I will still have a glimmer of hope that we could if we stop Lamar and Co, we may have a chance. And if we do have a chance, that could be the kick. That could finally be the kick up the arse and the turning point in our season. It goes, okay, we're at 4-5 now. Let's see how we go. And if we go to Houston and beat the Texans and go 5-5, what do you know? What, we're 5-5, 6 games to go here. We could go 10-6 here, maybe, and get a chance.
Had you going 8-8, 500 this year, Carl? If I'm honest, a lot of people,
which is most what people thought, 8-8, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't think I just don't think that Cam is the way forward. I don't think Stidham's the way forward. Hoyer, forget about him. He's still collecting the.
Hoyer's done.
Forget him. And I do worry. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of people now who are NFL fans are loving the Pats being so bad, and I'm one of them.
I'm not.
I'm not.
I was done with the Brady and all those Super Bowls, and he was going to do it, and it was just like they were the best team.
I don't know what it is that never bothered me. I think the reason that didn't bother me is because the Patriots weren't standing in the 49ers' way, right? Like, we're not going to sit here and be like, well, the 49ers didn't win because the Patriots stopped us. Like, it never bothered me.
If the Niners were where they should have been through all those 6 Super Bowls, and we maybe got to 2 and whatever, I'd have been, I'm done. Well, I was done with the Patriots anyway, and it kind of it took away my enjoyment of the game.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right, and I'm sure, and obviously Carl didn't probably see it in like the Super Bowls back in the day. And I'm guessing that if he was around and watching the game, and there's probably people watching this now who aren't Niner fans, who would be, if your team is so dominant in such a thing, and you're watching it as a neutral, for instance, you'd be like, Niners won again, Niners won again, Niners won again. And it to me, and as you know, I've been a fan since the late 70s. When the Patriots were on that run, and yeah, great team, don't get me wrong, Brady and his pomp and all the rest of it. The NFL to me got stale because they were winning it all the time. And you kind of knew that they were going to win it. So what's the point of everyone else turning up? But that's just me.
No, I understand. That. And, for me, the counterpoint that I would give to that, Nick, is I don't disagree with any. And then there's plenty of people that share that same opinion, right? For me, I think I appreciated what they were doing because we're never going to see that again from anyone.
Yeah, I get that part. I get, right?
Yeah.
But it becomes a bit. Why stay up for the Super Bowl over here at midnight or 5 o'clock? Because, oh, fucking hell, the Patriots have won again. Put it in the book.
I would get fascinated with the way they would do them, because every Super Bowl season that they won wasn't the same. Like, they weren't just blitzing people 16-0. There's adversity throughout the season, and then it's like when they make it to the end, you almost marvel at, like, wow, they did it again in spite of all of this. That's the way I looked at it, right? You know, like, and then remember,
I can totally get that, Jason. But when you're, and I think Carl will agree, and this year as well, with Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay, fucking everyone now is buying Tampa Bay fucking Brady shirts, right? Yeah. Because he's the best and they're new to the game and blah, 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 right? But that New England team, the dynasty that they built up, you got a lot of bandwagon. You must have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen with any team, right? Nobody was Golden State Warriors fans, right? Like, unless you lived in that area. Now everybody's a Golden State Warriors fan all over the place. Like the same thing with LeBron James.
I don't really. I mean, I gave up on the NBA when Michael Jordan retired, and I haven't been interested in it since. And I follow a lot of people from California, and you know. When
first time ever watched
when Golden State are doing really well, you know, you get bandwagon fans in every sport, and I don't know. I like my worry now. Okay, is that the Chiefs dominate
are about to be that.
Next 4 years, and it will
be maybe, but the salary cap makes that like it's a little bit head scratching as to see how they're going to keep all that together, because the salary cap decreases, and now next year is when the Mahomes deal takes. You know, you just signed Kelsey, you just signed Chris Jones, you got to sign Tyreek Hill. Like, how are they going to keep everybody? So they've opened a Super Bowl window for 2 years.
Can I personally say this? I don't think they will re-sign Tyreek Hill. Not when you got a rookie in McCall Harbin.
Does it make sense?
Argument.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Just a couple of quick comments from in the chat. Carly, bless him, and he didn't mention you, Carl, and I think he got you and me confused. He said, Jason are great guys and know the game very well. He's obviously got me confused with you because I just sit here and talk shit. John V is a new viewer. So, John, welcome along to the channel.
Sounds my guy. He's a good guy, man.
Familiar with this channel. I've enjoyed it a lot and great content. The funny thing is, and a lot of people have said to me when they have messaged us on Twitter or whatever, the English accent and the way we speak sometimes is doesn't come across. So, like watching The English Office with, I can't think of his bloody name.
Yeah, what is his name? Oh, Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
The guy who was in the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Steve Carell. Steve Carell.
But the British one will stand up against anything. So hopefully you do get us Britishness and all that kind of stuff.
I do.
I know Jason and Jeff, when he's on, unfortunately, he did send me a message and apologise. He couldn't make it. He was having to do some coaching and they got a game, so he couldn't do it. But I get a lot of people especially when I've been on the Nothing But Niners, they all think I'm Michael Caine or Alfred out of Batman.
You sort of are in the Batcave right now, so that is, you know,
something like that. But every time I go on there, all of the comments all like, "Oh, he's Alfred, it's this," and I'm like, if I'm Michael Caine, then well, I wish I was, but yeah. Callie says, "Do you guys hold the Pats cheating scandals against them?"
What cheating scandal?
Yeah, of course. They didn't deflate any balls, didn't turn the radios off, didn't. No, to be honest, no, at that time, they were the best team. When all those things were going on, letting a couple of pounds out the balls or spying on the other team at that time, and I think you'll agree, Carl, they were so much better than everyone else. It didn't matter that they were, shall we say, employing underhand tactics.
Underplaying, but it never got it. But there was no evidence to say that it was. It was just Roger Goodell just trying to sort out an investigation on it. In the end, they were going to punish the Patriots for something which the evidence didn't show of. And in the end, Brady just took it on the chin and goes, "Yeah, okay, slap me with a 4-game suspension. We'll go with it."
Thing was, he shouldn't have stepped on that bloke's phone. That didn't help, really, did it? But anyway, John V. Now, I'm guessing he's talking about Golden State, and I know nothing about the NBA, so I'll read it out anyway. Can't stand that franchise. Literally cannot watch them. Curry and that fucking mouthpiece, whoever that is, like a pacifier, drives me insane. Do you watch NBA? I can't comment. I don't actually watch it.
The first time I watched NBA, I was still quite young at the time. It was when Kobe Bryant was playing for the Lakers. It was the first ever game I watched, and I just watched him. I can't remember who he was just destroying, but he was just such an unbelievable talent. But I only started getting back into the NBA probably around about 3 years ago now. Me being a Patriots fan, so I've gone for the Celtics by default.
I love the Celtics uniform, and I saw Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and that I think they were either on their second run. I used to work for an airline. I worked for Virgin Atlantic, if anyone has heard of Virgin Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go to a lot of cities in America where they flew to make sure the planes were being cleaned and that they had stock and blah, blah. And I was out in Boston one year, and Boston were awful. And I went into this bar where all of the Irish people hang out. And I was there for a week. And some guy asked me if I wanted tickets to go and see the Celtics. So I'm like, of course. Who are they? They're playing the Bulls.
Oh.
You don't want to go and see Boston Celtics versus the Bulls. And he said, to be honest, we suck. He said, I'll give you the brown bag with the cutout and saying Boston suck, blah, 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 blah. They were, I don't know what you say, not on the 50-yard line. What's the center?
Half court.
Half court. About 8 rows up. I paid $20 per ticket. And me and my friend went and watched the Chicago Bulls murder Boston, and it was just a privilege because that's what, with Jordan and Pippen and all of those players, and so to me that was pretty amazing, probably up there on my top 5 things I've ever done, to be in a building and see that going on. It was incredible, even though, and I've been to Fenway Park, and I can't stand baseball. I just don't. To me, baseball is just like 9 hours possibly of doing nothing. American football strung out over 3 hours is sometimes painful enough, but baseball can go on for hours, and I don't get that. But anyway, we digress. So maybe you can answer this one, Jason, that Jonathan, because me and Carl don't really watch NBA. He said, can't stand that franchise. I'm assuming.
He's talking about the Warriors. Yeah. So the Warriors were like a hard luck team for a long time, and then, all of a sudden they get Curry, they get all these guys. But what I'll give them credit for is that they actually have done it through the draft. They drafted Curry. They drafted Klay Thompson. They drafted Draymond Green. They brought in Kevin Durant as a free agent, and that's when things went crazy, But I think what John's from Ohio, right? So John's a Cavs fan. I know why he really dislikes the Warriors, So yeah,
because his team is just as shit now as what it was before they won their first title.
Right. So like they have the greatest the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history, like under their belt, like how they won their championship.
Oh, yeah.
But since John is from
that was all to do with LeBron.
Right, exactly. So John's from Ohio, so that's why he doesn't like the Warriors, But then, outside of that, the country has a love affair with them, and they're, because they win. So, when any team wins, it's the same thing, right? I'm a Yankees fan, right? And I've lived up here my whole life. My father's from the Bronx, and I would go to these games, and when the Yankees weren't doing well, the stadium wasn't as full. People weren't going to games. As soon as they make the playoffs and they start winning World Series, everybody's back. Right. So that's how you weed out. It's everybody. If the 49ers won the Super Bowl last year, you would have seen the bandwagon numbers go up. Look, I've been going to 49ers games for a while. The turnout lately this past year was much higher than it ever was. And you know why? The 49ers were good last year. Look, the 49ers travel well. When they were bad, and, we'd go to MetLife for games like that. Yeah, the 49ers would be, represented. Guarantee you, like this year when I went to Tampa, this year when I went to Washington, the turnout was insane. People are gravitate towards winning. So it's going to happen in any sort of franchise, any sort of sport.
Definitely. Couple more comments, Carly. I love the England feel to the show. Where's my tea and crumpets? Cheeky. I do love crumpets. Wow. I'm going to have some for my tea or my dinner tomorrow evening. So yes, I do love crumpets. Tea, not so much. John V, fellas, my father spoke with a strong Greek accent. That's interesting. Whereabouts in Greece did he come from? Greece is my favourite holiday destination, be it Corfu, Samos, Athens. I love Greece. I love the people. So big up to your dad. And it's helped me understand the cultures and dialects everywhere. Much love, Nick. Yeah, definitely. Right, we got 2 quick games to pick because I've got to get out of here because my dog is going batshit. I can hear it barking. My wife is going to be sending me text messages soon to say, stop bullshitting and get in here and sort the dog out. Right, quick one. Vikings, Bears. Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, I have to lean the Vikings, but I don't feel good about it. Like there's something about this game that doesn't feel like it's going to be super close. But yeah, give me the Vikings. The thing is, man, it's like the thing that they want to do, the Bears can actually stop. I have a tough time with it, but I think Kirk Cousins has enough to get it done, and they'll find a way to get it done.
Oh, the Bears offense, though, it
is so bad.
It infuriates me.
It's so bad. It is bad. And then, the only thing that gives me pause is that the Vikings defense is bad too. But I still have to believe the Vikings get it done.
Against another, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've got the Vikings, but I don't feel good about it. I'll tell you that.
I don't think anyone ever would feeling good about the Vikings with the Tony Romo Part 2 at QB, but that's another story. Right, last game before we hop off. Also, before we go on, very quickly, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, to Periscope, Twitter, all that jazz. Just subscribe. We're nothing without you guys. I mean, we'd still come on here and talk for 2 hours if no one watched, because it's just like a load of friends sitting round, grabbing a beer and just talking shit basically for a couple of hours. Unless Pete switches the stream off accidentally after 10 minutes and makes us look stupid. But hey ho, right. 49ers versus New Orleans Saints. Oh.
Shall I say again? I misheard that.
Who have you got? Niners, Saints. I know you're going to go the Saints, and I am. I can.
After what the Saints done to the Bucks last week, yeah, I fear for this 49ers team this week. I'm taking the Saints.
Saints. Jason, I know you're going to have to hop off. Just put everyone out there misery that's a Niners fan that's watching. We did touch on it earlier. I know who you're going for, but I've got I've got my lone wolf cap ready.
Yeah, I got the Saints. It's going to be like 38-24 or something like that. I just struggle with how this 49ers team is going to stop this offense. You know, what everybody forgets is that last year when the 49ers had Nick Bosa and they had a bunch of their guys, DeForest Buckner, all of them, the 49ers got 0 sacks in that game against the Saints, and Drew Brees put up 46 points in that game. We're looking at Michael Thomas being back and being up to full strength now this time. You know, Alvin Kamara is playing like the best running back in football right now. You know, Emmanuel Sanders has revenge on his mind. You know, he said he wants to kick the 49ers ass. I love that. I mean, you know, for anybody who was upset at that, I don't get why you're upset. I understand that 100%. If we're friends, we're friends. But when it's time to click it on, there's no more friends in this anymore. Like I'm here to wipe you out, and you better be here to wipe me out. So I'm not mad at Emmanuel Sanders for that. I just struggle with how the 49ers are going to keep up with them. You know, it's tough to even say if Jimmy Garoppolo was playing in this game that we would even believe that we're going to win this game. So imagine how we feel with Nick Mullins. No Mostert, no Debo, no Coleman, no Kittle. It's hard. Look, I'm a 49er faithful. We know that everything, and I'm proud to be wrong. If I'm wrong, make sure you kill me on Twitter for it. I'm good with being wrong here, but I've got the Saints 38-24. It's just I'd have a tough time figuring out how they're going to slow this offense down.
You're also playing in the Superdome as well.
Yep. I mean, I wouldn't care about that if there were fans there. I would, let's say it. But I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point. They could play it on Mars at this point with these rosters, and I think it's going to be the same thing, honestly. But yeah, that doesn't help at all.
Well, I'm so glad that I'm the only optimist because
Nick, if they win this game, I think they go into their bye thinking about, hey, we could make a run at this. The Rams are next. They've beaten them, So look, there's reason for optimism. I have a tough time seeing it. I want to be wrong, but what my eyes tell me, what I just watched the Saints put on film this week, I don't know how the 49ers are going to slow that down.
I can't. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But I'm ever the optimist. I am. I can't. I love it. What we did. I saw what we did last year against them, and no one had us winning that game. Nobody. Yeah. Even and who was it? I was watching a show and they said, Jimmy G wasn't clutching that because he didn't really do a lot. Emmanuel Sanders threw that touchdown on that 4th and 2. Kittle was the one that made the yards. All he did was catch the ball. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I really don't. I'm still going the Niners. I've got to because I have faith. And I had faith against the Packers and they kicked the fuck out of us. They absolutely.
See, the Packers, I could understand that one because when I watched the film on that one, there was so much there for the Niners. Like it was all there for them.
If we make tackles in open field and we don't, and Drew Brees doesn't, as we said, doesn't really have that long ball. We've got to make sure that we keep everything in front of us. And offensively, again, Mullins, dump it off, do this. Just get out of the pressure, step into the pocket because the pocket will hold up, but it's not going to hold up for 5 seconds.
So well, nobody can do that.
No, but he needs to get the ball out quick. So Ayuk, Kendrick Bourne, who's back.
Richie James now.
Richie James, exactly.
Yeah, Richie James.
James.
Dwelly and Jordan Reed as well. Titan.
Jordan Reed's going to be stepping up his snaps this time, and they said that Jerick McKinnon, is over the tired legs. Look, here's how I'll say it. There's a range of outcomes, right? A range of outcomes from the 49ers tie, the 49ers win, the 49ers lose, right? It's just how likely, right? So 49ers win seems less likely at this point. So that's really how I get to my result of, yeah, they're probably going to lose this game. Like, what's more likely to happen? It's just they're going to have to not turn the ball over. They're going to have to make defensive stops. Like I said, that defense last year was the number 1 defense. They gave up 46 points. This defense is not that. It's going to be tough.
As you said, even with Bosa and D Ford, we still didn't sack him.
Nope. But
you can forget the pressure thing because Drew Brees gets it out fast, right? Under 2.5 seconds, whatever it is. That's fine. If we can cover and do what we need to do, then as long as we keep it up on our side of the ball, to commented, we're out. Thank you very much.